Hey everybody, this is Bug Out Junkie with another Bug Out Junkie adventure. I got my earbuds in my ears, but as I used to call them, my earplugs, earphones. Anyhow, I need to give y'all some clarification in case there is any misunderstanding. The misunderstanding will come at the point of when I went nomadic, aka I bugged out. In that area. So, like I've said in the previous videos, I've prepped for many years. I think my first real big prep that was alarming, that oh my gosh, it's gonna happen, was 2012. That was the first time I ever bought like bulk stuff. We ate on that for about 3 years. But anyway, before then, I had prepped on a smaller scale, making sure that my cupboards were full, my pantry was full. I always had backup because, of course, I was raising kids at that time. Well, subsequently, since then, I've constantly prepped in one way or another. Not on the massive scale like I did for 2012, but starting in 2018, 2019, I really started putting the food back. Putting it back, stacking it up, stacking it up, stacking it up. Towards the end of 2019, my contacts in other countries, I couldn't get a hold of them anymore. And I still haven't gotten a hold of them since December of 2019, when they told me that I needed to buy a mask, hand sanitizer, and a disinfectant spray. And, all that stuff was discussed. Well, of course, I went out and bought some of that stuff anyway. I did already have mask and everything, and goggles and disinfectant spray and hand sanitizer, just keep all that stuff around anyway. But I got a little bit more. But my preps that I had stacked got me all the way through 2019 up into 2020. And 2020, the middle of 2020, I relocated from Texas to Oklahoma. Now, at this point, everything was steady. I had not been affected by anything seriously going on around the world or in my state or anything like that. I just pretty much, ignored it and stuff. Never complied with any of the mandates or anything like that. But just in case, I had those things on hand. And I still have some of those things on hand, but they haven't been used for what has been pushed in the last 12 to 16 months. So I'm in Oklahoma, and I've relocated everything, preps and everything. My caches are in a couple different states, and everything's going well. Everything's going smooth. Well, just some unfortunate events, such as my employer requiring me to get inoculated. I chose not to get inoculated and subsequently lost that job. Now, the profession that I was in was mental health. I've worked with special needs people, intellectual and physically disadvantaged individuals, all the way from profound to high functioning levels. I have also worked with children all the way up into geriatrics. Some of them were born with these mental health and physical disadvantages. others were made that way, and some of them did it to themselves. But the whole thing was, that I was going to be around people, this, that, and the other, and I've got to take this, and if I want to keep my job. And I chose not to keep my job. Now, my plan was not to bug out at that time. I was really planning on, going off grid and everything. Sometime this year, bugging out, doing, what I've always wanted to do. Because I was going to be ready to pretty much retire at that point from that career. So anyhow, the unfortunate events that put me nomadic was that because I refused to comply with any of those mandates, for one, I couldn't go in for a job interview because I refused to wear a freaking mask. And I wasn't about to get the inoculation because I'd already walked off of one really good employer because of it. And pretty much my education that I've been working on and everything kind of, is there, and it's useful for a lot of things. But so I still had all my preps in. And I say all my preps, excuse me when I say that. I still had several areas throughout the southern states that I had preps in, that I had them stored. And a MAG member took it upon themselves, of course, to rob one of those caches where I and some other MAG members had items stored. Oh, excuse me, and I did a video on that. But anyhow, so when I say now, all the preps that I have that are close to me within a 250-mile, 300-mile radius are the preps that fit in the back of Jolene, in the back of my truck. And I prep for one and everything. I've been working with my daughter to kind of get her on board. We're part of that I'll see it when I believe it kind of thing, but it is what it is, and I think that there's some eye-openers occurring, and so, the prepping's going to be taken more seriously on my children's part, hopefully. They've always thought their mother was crazy. Well, I probably am, but not in the way that they think I'm crazy. Anyhow, so that clarification is there. That I ended up leaving that job, losing that good income, the house that I lived in, and all that stuff that goes along with, having a place, and everything. Ended up getting on pandemic unemployment. Because one of the weird things on the catch-22 is, although I have medical marijuana, the jobs that I am qualified for, and sometimes overqualified for, I failed the drug test on them. But the medicinal is one of the only things that has helped me with my migraines besides smashing my head up against a wall. I've been on prescription medications. In the past, I stopped taking those because I continued to have migraines. And I myself, I don't believe in taking all that prescribed medications when there's something natural out there for it. So now, when I say that I'm nomadic, I am nomadic. Now, don't get me wrong. I've got a nice tent and stuff like that. I've got all those kind of things. Like I said, I've been preparing and prepping to go off grid for years. I just did not realize it would be in the manner that it was this last year of 2020. So that kind of threw a wrench in my ideal of how I was going to, proceed with everything and eventually get there and stuff like this. I was pretty much kind of pushed off into it. because I wasn't going to comply, and I'm still not going to comply. And that's just that in a nutshell. I wanted to clarify that in case there was any questions, that it's just it's a series of building that occurred. That I was working towards a goal to eventually, go off grid and do the homestead thing and do all that wonderful stuff. It just didn't turn out that way. It turned out that it is what it is. And I'm fine with that, because I'm actually truly very happy and content. I've found serenity. I've found joy. I've found peace in a world that's full of chaos and panic. I found tranquility and a calmness in knowing that my one major prep, my Bible, that I have in my relationship with Jesus, is going to lead me through all this. And I just, I want y'all to know that everything's going to happen the way that it's supposed to happen, okay? It's already all written. There's no need to panic at all. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever should believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. That's the first Bible verse I ever learned. And that's what keeps me going. I may not have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, but I know as long as my faith in what I can't see and what I call God, and who is God to me, my Creator, will get me through any storm. So just keep that in mind. I want you to know, if I can do it, you can do it, as far as the prepping and everything like that goes. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I haven't met any of the prepping channels that I follow in person. We have talked, and communicated through, social media, but I've never met them in person. Hopefully, someday that'll happen, God willing. God not willing, I'll meet a bunch of other preppers. But hopefully, God willing, I make the rapture, because I very well might not make that rapture. I know I've been forgiven, but I'm far from being worthy. Very far from being worthy. And so I only pray every day that what I have done and what I prepare for on this earth isn't necessarily for me, but maybe somebody else that gets left behind. Or I just might get left behind myself. I don't know. I just, that's one of those unknowns. That's one of those things. And I think about that kind of stuff sometimes. And just trying to do the next right thing. And to help people where I can help them at. But, I turned 54 today. I do not feel 54. I feel like I'm about 27 and a half. That was some pretty good years. 27 to 30 something. Those, oh boy, I tell you. But anyhow, I was going to sign off here, because I'm really not wanting to do a long video or anything. I am tired. So anyhow, y'all have a great day. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. If what I say or the things that I do or video can help just one person, well, then it's all worth it to me. So y'all keep on prepping. This is Bug Out Junkie with another Bug Out Junkie commentary.